Good morning class, welcome to your daily current affairs on paper Hindu. So let's go with today's articles. Local one, yes. So Mr. Modi, our Prime Minister, is going to lay foundation stone for country's first digital science park in Kerala tomorrow. So for the first time, the Science Museum, that means it is about the digital science park, which has again a relative infrastructure. We will discuss what is it about. So currently this science park of digital waste, so digital science park is going to be established in Kerala. So tomorrow is its opening. So yes, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay a foundation stone for India's first digital science park coming up at the Technocity campus here on Tuesday, marking a milestone for Kerala's transformation into knowledge economy. So yeah, what does this particular park will be equipped with? So it will be equipped with high-end research labs, facilities which will include clean rooms, then material characterization facility, integrated sensor labs, energy labs, motor and drives labs, then RF and wireless testing labs, unconventional computing centers, high-end data centers, robotics labs, then electronic design center, software development labs, informatics and computing labs, blockchain and cyber security labs. So almost the infrastructure which is required for the digital environment, all these things will be equipped into this particular digital science park in Kerala for the first time. Next. Today the editorials were good, so go through the editorials part 2. I have already uploaded this into Telegram channel, so yeah, you can go and download the PDF and read those editorials too. Fine. So cases of aviation staff caught smuggling gold doubled in 22-23. So the aviation staff who have been smuggling gold, because recently the import duties have been increased. So around from 7.5 to almost 20% based on the product, it has been increased. So because of which the aviation staff are also turning towards corrupted way. So they are trying to smuggle gold into India. So it almost doubled in 22-23. That is the data which we have got. So of the nearly 4,000 kg gold smuggled, so of the nearly 4,000 kg of smuggled gold found between April 22-23. So 22 of April and February 2023, 63% was in airports and 29 employees of airlines and airports were held for their involvement in smuggling golds. So you need to understand that 63% was found in airports, that's fine. What happened for the rest of 37%? It is bought by or it is being smuggled and 29 employees are being involved into smuggling this particular gold. So yeah, with the global gold prices soaring over the past year and the government raising imported duties on yellow metal and gold smuggling to see, so on yellow metal means again the gold, so the gold smuggling seemed to have become an attractive side hustle of some aviation staff. Between April 22-23 and Feb 23, the Department of Revenue Intelligence and Customs Authorities booked 29 cases involving 81 kg of seized gold, where airline cabin crew members or airport staffs were implicated. So almost 29 cases on staff of aviation have been involved into smuggling of around 81 kg of gold, that you need to understand. So just our data which is not completely required, but yeah, to mention about the corruption in government offices, especially in these imports, that you can mention here. So India's official gold imports fell around 24% to $35 billion in 22-23 as prices surged and the rupee turned weaker. So in the year of 22-23, what happened? Our rupee has been depreciated. At the same time, the gold rate has been surged, due to which what happened? The rupee turned weaker, but this has coincided with a sharp spike in authorities' detection of gold smuggled into the country with nearly 4,000 kg of smuggled gold found in the first 11 months of 22-23. So because of this grown prices and depreciation in rupee, the smuggling of gold into the country has been ramped up, because of which even the aviation staff is also included into such kind of crimes. Okay, next. So network sensors to monitor groundwater quality. So this comes with the Ministry of Jal Shakti. So what they are trying to do? They are going to deploy these sensors into the ground to check the groundwater contamination, the level of contamination that is been happening into the groundwater. So Jal Shakti Ministry is working on an ambitious plan to deploy a vast network of groundwater sensors that will continuously relay information on groundwater levels and the degree of contamination down to the taluk level. So currently such information is only measured a handful of times a year and communicated via reports of the Central Groundwater Board. So what they are trying to do? Currently this democratic decentralization of identifying these impurities or contamination to groundwater is less, but because of this step that is going to be taken by Jal Shakti, Ministry of Jal Shakti, it will ensure that what is the level of contamination of water bodies at even at the taluk level, so at the very rural level. Fine. So establishing a network that will continuously measure groundwater quality, feed into a centralized network such as that of the National Water Informatics Center, and make it available for monitoring would make groundwater visible much the way as air quality and meteorological variables, air pressure, moisture, precipitation. So what they are trying to do, now if there is any kind of air pollution, we have air pollution control board which will measure in different particular places what is the level of air pollution happening. At the same time, if there is any change in air pressure, so moisture, precipitation, so weather reports which you are getting every day. So all these are monitoring very minute changes in the environment or in the climatic change. However, monitoring of groundwater isn't been to this level. So with which by deploying this water sensor, it will make a proper database on the national water. So the national, it's similar to the National Water Informatics, so that what they are trying to do, they are trying to establish a database to register or to enter the data of what is the minute change that has been occurring in groundwater components. Okay, fine. Next. Yes. The center will clamp down on Ponzi apps, says Finance Minister. So first of all, what is this Ponzi apps? So fine. So consider this is a chain market. If at all I am entering into one particular app, if they are referring me to this particular app, they will be getting benefited. At the same time, every other purchase or every other amount that I am purchasing there or doing anything with my money, then that will be giving certain amount of benefit to the one who have joined me. Example, let me be a person, intermediary. I have been joined to that particular Ponzi app, some Ponzi app. So mostly they are focusing on online apps. So a person have joined me and I have joined some other person. So this is a cycle, it will not be chaining. Some 3 persons, let's say. So when I have been joined into this particular Ponzi app by one particular person, what happens was, yes, so what happened was, this particular person will be benefited as long as I purchase anything in that particular app. So if I purchase something, a part of discount, a part of profit will be shared to this particular person. And the same way, whatever these persons are buying, I will be able to reap benefits out of this. So nowadays, this kind of cyclic markets, chain marketing has been increased not only in the digital means but also in the offline means. So this is threatening to economy because we cannot actually track how the money is flowing among these particular people. And the cost price of purchaser will also be, the selling price of the purchaser will also be dependent on the number of persons this particular person have been joined. So, it is again a threatening, or it is again a issue which the consumer end will be facing, right. So, now what Nirmala Sitharaman is going to take here? The government is working with the RBI and the IT minister on the regulation, says Nirmala Sitharaman, adding that investors would exercise caution before putting in hard-earned money. So, what is the issue? India is almost a middle class country. So, almost of the people are from middle class. So, very middle class family, middle income family. So, what is happening here? The government is trying to come up, is trying to regulate the market with. So, what it is trying to do, it is trying to have in sync between the government, RBI. So, of course, finance ministers, monetary bank, supreme bank will be RBI for India. So, they are going to correlate RBI with IT ministry, because these Ponzi apps mainly targeting the digital spaces. So, this is happening in the digital spaces because it is difficult to track. So, what is happening? Now, RBI and IT ministers are going to come together to frame a particular technology or identification procedure, so they can identify if there is any issue or any kind of app that is happening in the way of Ponzi. That means where it is illegally benefiting its prior person when he is or she is joining some other person. So, how they are going to do? Stating that the center will clamp down the Ponzi apps to protect investors' hard-earned money, Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Sunday said that the discussions were on the Information Technology Ministry and the Reserve Bank of India on the issue. There are apps coming out with promises, and many of the apps are Ponzi apps. So, many of the apps that may be from your poker, games, whatever it is, if you are able to make one particular person join, you will be getting this much amount benefit, money, mostly monetary benefits. And if at all that particular person is purchasing anything, then again a part of amount will be given you as a amount because of his or her purchaser. So, many of the apps are Ponzi apps. We are working with RBI and IT ministry. We will be clamping down on such apps like never before, so that we don't get the Ponzi app taking away hard-earned money. So, the money price should be equal to everyone. So, if it is the same level of product, then same level of money should be paid for everyone. That is how the economy will ensure that there is pure circulation of money. So, in that case, they are going to correlate IT minister with RBI. Fine. Next. So, on Saturday also we were discussing about the Sudan issue. So, all the other countries including India, they are sending out their troops to shift their own citizens to their own country. Okay. So, next important article, the EU's, European Union's new crypto legislation. So, we Indians are having, or we are communicating with different other countries to make this particular crypto legislation universal. So, that means everyone should be having the same equal level of crypto legislation. Most of the countries aren't having any kind of legislation. So, EU have come up with one particular crypto legislation. So, what is this about? How it is going to regulate this? So, it is a 27 countries block, of course, an organization, international organization with which we also share our trade relationship. So, let us go with the gist first. So, European Parliament has approved the world's first set of comprehensive rules to bring largely unregulated cryptocurrency markets under the ambit of regulation by government authorities. So, for the first time they are going to come up with crypto legislation to make it ambient under their own government. So, whatever the amount that is being circulated through crypto assets or through cryptocurrency will be now monitored by the government. So, the leaders at some of the biggest cryptocurrencies firms have taken exception to some aspects of the markets in crypto assets, which is MiCA legislation. So, they have given a name called MiCA, MiCA, which is markets in crypto assets legislation, but the broad view is that it is better to have a regulatory framework than having no rules and attracting regulatory action case by case without clarity. So, why they have come up with this particular plan is that when there is a proper regulatory framework, it is better if there is any kind of issue that can be regulated. Else we can't go with each individual case. If a particular consumer is facing any kind of issues there, then taking up the case and dealing with it. Instead we can regularize by creating one registration. That is how they have framed this cryptocurrencies, crypto assets legislation. Fine. Next. So India is yet to have a comprehensive regulatory framework for crypto assets, and a draft legislation on the same is reportedly in the works. So in the previous budget, Nirmala Sitharaman has ensured that we will be having taxation on cryptocurrency, and she has also mentioned that RBI will introduce its own digital rupee. So these two are the updates as of the previous budget, and now they are going to come up with a particular framework which will deal with cryptocurrencies and its assets, and we are yet to frame. It is already in works. Fine. Next. So going into it, so as I already told, they have come up with this MiCA legislation, where any of the crypto assets, whoever are the people that they are going to have as a service provider, that means who are creating these crypto assets, they can register themselves into this MiCA. So it will come into force after formal approval by member countries. So why regulation again? Not much important. What are the new rules as of MiCA is something which is important, because based on the international rules, our rules will be a bit aligned to. So definitely we can take this as an example with which future our law can be based. Fine. So MiCA will impose complaints on the issuers of crypto assets. So it is a complaints on issuers of crypto assets. That means whoever are issuing this crypto asset, they will be having this particular complaints with MiCA. So what is it? Who are defined as a legal person who offers. So they have defined these crypto assets, the issuers of crypto assets, as the legal person who offers to the public any type of crypto assets. So issuers of crypto assets is a person who is legally binding, or he legally complained to this MiCA, and who will be offering the public any kind of crypto asset. So it will apply to crypto asset service providers. So whoever are the crypto asset service provider, they are simply called CASPs. So providing one or more of these services, like the operation of trading platform, Coinbase, custody and administration of crypto assets on behalf of third parties. So all these who are all eligible for CASPs are the service providers. First can be Coinbase, and the custody and administration of crypto assets on behalf of third parties, the exchange of crypto assets or funds. That means now how we have stock exchanges, in the same way we have this crypto exchange base, so they can also be there, and the execution of orders for crypto assets, placing of crypto assets, providing transfer services. So all these things will be included into this legislation, that you need to understand. What about the case of India? How is crypto regulated in India? So India is yet to have a comprehensive regulatory framework for crypto assets. A draft legislation is reportedly in works. So we have started our works, our parliament has started our works to create or to make this crypto assets legislation, and it is already under work in the draft phase. So full-fledged regulation aside, the Indian government has taken certain steps to bring cryptocurrencies under the ambit of specific authorities and taxation, which I have already mentioned you through the budget 22-23. For the first time, Nirmala Sitharaman have brought this cryptocurrencies and assets under taxation. Around 30% of tax, 30% of tax from the income generated from the transfer of any virtual digital asset will be charged as taxation to government. So in March this year, the government placed all the transactions involving virtual digital assets. This year, March, what they have done, that means in the last month, what they have mentioned is whatever the transactions that are being involved into virtual assets, they have added into the preview of Prevention of Money Laundering Act. So what they are trying to do, any case of issues that are going to be occurring, that are going to occur in virtual currencies transaction, virtual assets transaction, they will be under the ambience of Prevention of Money Laundering Act, PMLA, right. Next, so this is the last article. How can a juvenile be tried as an adult court? So basically, what are the types of crimes? What are the types of crimes that are being committed? That can be petty offences, serious offences and heinous offences, in which when there is heinous offences, so what is heinous offences again? That may be murder, rape, something which is life threatening to some other particular person. So taken the life or almost created most of the damage to that particular person will be considered as heinous crimes. So if a particular juvenile, so who is a juvenile? Again, the people who are minors, so the age group of minors who are committing crimes, they are called juveniles. So in which the age group from 16 to 18, just a moment, yeah, the age group of 16 to 18, in case of committing any kind of heinous crimes, how they should be treated as adults or should they be considered into juveniles, that you need to understand. That means the level of crime, based on the level of crime that particular person have committed, based on that you will be dividing a person who is under the age group of 16 to 18 as a juvenile or under adult crimes. So that you need to understand. So how is this going to happen? First let me go to the gist, then we will go into the article. The National Commission for Protection of Children has recently issued guidelines for conducting a preliminary assessment by the Juvenile Justice Board under Section 15 of Juvenile Justice Act 2015. So what they are trying to do? They are trying to separate or differentiate between the heinous crimes committed between the age group of 16 to 18 and other crimes. Okay. So the sole objective of having such a preliminary assessment is to determine whether a child within the age group of 16 to 18 years should be tried as an adult in case of heinous crimes. Because during the Delhi rape case, there was one minor who has been included. There are minors who have included into that particular committing crime. Then the government has thought, if they are able to commit that particular crime, how should we deal them with, in lines with juveniles? We should be treating them as adults. In such lines, they have come up with this particular guidelines now. So the NCPCR is under the statutory obligation to monitor the proper implementations of provision of the Act. So with respect to that particular Justice Juvenile Act, it is under the ambience of NCPCR to frame the guidelines on how we should be treating these juveniles as adults in case of heinous crimes. So they have given certain procedures. Procedure again not required, but yeah, for you to understand. So the National Commission for Protection has recently given the guidelines under Section 15 of Juvenile Justice Act 2015, JJ Act, and this preliminary assessment is to ascertain whether a juvenile can be tried as an adult, and replacing the Juvenile Justice Act of 2015 Act for the first time provided for trying juveniles in the age of 16 to 18 as adults. So what they have done? Earlier there was an act of JJ Act 2000, it has been amended in 2015 and they have included for the first time that the persons who are aging 16 to 18, if they have committed any kind of heinous crimes, they should be tried as an adult, not as a juvenile. That you need to understand. Fine. So the NCPCR have also given separate guidelines on how you will be categorizing them. So section 18(3) of the Act further suggests that if the board after preliminary assessment under section 15 passes an order that there is a need for the trial of the said child as an adult, then the board may order the transfer of the case to the children's court having jurisdiction to try such offences. So basically they are dividing the jurisdiction, that's all. Rest all, nothing is required from this particular article, you can just go through this, rest all not required. So you need to understand that NCPCR is the authority and the age group of 16 to 18, if in case they have committed any kind of heinous crimes, they will be treated as adult, and if there is any kind of issues, they will be dealing them as an adult and they will be giving judgments. So that is about this article. So in case of any queries, you can ask me in the next session also, and that's it for today. We will meet in the next session tomorrow. Thank you.